Hello, guys, and welcome to the third episode of the Glenforest podcast. My name is Ayaan, and I'm your host, along with my fellow co-hosts Varun and Udula.
Thank
Hello.
you for having us, Ayaan Noob.
Okay, we're just gonna continue. Udula can't
Okay.
say our names, but it doesn't matter.
Anyway, so today we're going to be having a guest speaker, Saanvi, and she's going to be talking about gene editing. And let's get started.
Wait.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to do an introduction first off. So Saanvi apparently goes to university as of grade 9 somehow.
What
And
now?
she thinks Harvard is bad, which I don't know why. No. And like me and Ayaan would study until like 12:1 because Ayaan would keep calling me and asking me if I'm done studying for some reason, which I still don't know why. And then like during like this is for a test. So during a test, we would spend like the whole period, and like usually most other kids do too. And then Sammy would be sleeping during like the classes, and somehow like when the test grades come out, she either has like the highest or one of the highest like grades, which is insane.
In other words, she's very smart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even been studying for the test.
She's much smarter than all of us, so let's bring her in and let her educate us.
Varun is pretty short too. And one more
Shut up. I grew a few inches. I'm taller than my mom now. So
Yeah,
that's a step up for me.
You grew a
Wow.
few inches this way, not this way.
Whoa.
Whoa!
There.
We do not shame body types here. We accept all shapes and
I'm
sizes.
just gonna
Okay.
move past that blatant insult, and I'm gonna bring in Saanvi. She's been waiting for a while, and she's joining now.
Oh, one more thing. Sammy usually gives like really long, like 30-minute presentations when we're supposed to have like a 5-minute presentation. So, this might be long. Hello, Sanvi. How are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm good.
Wait, why does Sanvi sound like less deeper?
What do you mean?
What a
She
question.
sounds exactly the same. What do you mean by less deeper?
Like Varun sounds more deeper, and like she doesn't.
That's a weird way of putting it, but okay. All right. So yeah. So we brought Saanvi in. As we said, she's very smart. She's like much smarter than all of us, and she's really into something called gene editing.
I actually think she's the smartest in Glenforest, because she sleeps in during classes.
Fair enough. Okay.
First question. What you said we were gonna do like genomics or something too? What was that?
Genomics.
Pardon?
It's called genomics.
Yes. What's the difference between genomics and gene editing?
Okay, so essentially, your genome refers to all of your genetic material. So if your genome is like a cookbook, your genes are like the individual recipes. So basically, your genome is made up of various genes. So when we talk about gene editing, it's basically a group of technologies that allow DNA to be like altered, replaced, or added. And when we talk about the genome, it's basically how we look at things on a larger scale.
Could you say that again?
Wait, wouldn't there be like a big ethical controversy over gene editing because it's not really natural and it's like not how the world works?
Oh yeah, there is a huge ethical controversy.
Okay.
Like this one doctor, he basically like edited the genome of some human baby. And
Okay.
right now there's like this huge debate going on over that stuff.
But
Wait,
gene editing has it can save lives, right?
Yeah, for sure. But the problem with gene editing is that there's also a lot of risks because our technology isn't perfect. And the problem is that when you're actually tampering with your genes, those sort of effects, like those negative effects, can last for like several generations. So that's why there's this big ethical debate about it.
wait, one more thing. Does gene editing exist? Because I remember you did a presentation in business, and then I asked like if it exists, and then you said no, but then like our business teacher said something else that I don't remember. So does it exist? Because you
Yeah,
kept
for
on
sure.
saying,
It already exists.
you
It's
said
just not exactly in practice, like in the real world as much. It's mostly within the lab.
Or just like testing on animals, like rats and stuff.
Yeah, like
That's
mice,
cool.
because like mice share 85% of human genes. So they usually
wait.
test on those.
Does that mean if you gene edit on a rat, could you get him like 3 tails and like 3 eyes and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, you could actually.
Whoa.
Yeah, like sometimes they do gene editing on like flowers and plants, and then they can change the color and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wait, so say you gene edited someone, like how would you get the third eye somewhere here, and like how would it just appear there?
Okay, so essentially, um, in your genes are basically instructions for protein manufacturing. So basically, they're telling your ribosomes to manufacture certain proteins. Now, the problem is that if you want to give yourself a third eye, we don't exactly know that much about the human genome right now. So we don't
But
know
you
which
said you could do
genes
it.
produce which proteins to that extent.
Yeah, also
Yeah,
that'd
so
be
that's
kind of
like the
weird.
big challenge right now. How do you sequence the genome without mistakes? And then how do you actually find which genes produce which proteins and use that to actually do whatever you need to?
Wait,
It's like one of the main challenges.
so is like gene editing done to like for like cosmetic purposes or like cure diseases or something? Like
Jesus.
what's the main use? If
I
there
mean,
is,
I would say that there's multiple uses, but yeah, one of it is curing like genetic diseases, for example. Like right now, I've been looking into like how gene editing can solve HIV. So basically, and then there's something called gene therapy as well, where essentially using viruses and bacteria, you actually edit them so that they carry drugs into cells. Because right now, drugs can't enter cells because they have a semi-permeable membrane, except viruses are already really good at doing that. So using gene therapy, which is kind of like a subset of genetic engineering, they're thinking of using that to deliver drugs. So yeah, there's like a lot of uses, but one of the main uses is medical.
so say a person like was in an accident and then somehow he had to like cut his leg, like amputate it. Could you grow that leg back?
So that wouldn't really be actually in the realm of gene editing. That would be more in stem cells. Because stem cells essentially are cells that can become any other cell, especially if they're pluripotent, which basically means your younger stem cells, like when you're a baby, and like those stem cells are generally the ones that can actually become any cell whatsoever. So there's been this new development called pluripotent stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells. So induced pluripotent stem cells is where we take adult stem cells and we actually make them into pluripotent stem cells. So essentially, those would probably be more useful for actually growing back organs, limbs, and all those kind of things.
Damn.
Okay,
Alright,
and sorry.
Ayaan, go ahead.
So how far into gene editing do you think we are? Like, how much more do we have to learn?
I would say we have to learn like a lot because right now, first of all, we have to get over those ethical considerations because like they're a really big thing, especially since like we know that the negative effects can last for a really long time
Wait,
and
what do
they're
you mean?
almost irreversible unless you know exactly what the problem is. And I would say that right now, our technologies are still pretty faulty. Like CRISPR was a big leap in gene editing for sure, but
What's that?
even CRISPR isn't exactly like foolproof. So I would say that we still have a pretty long way to go in gene editing.
Wait, what's CRISPR?
Okay, so CRISPR is a gene editing tool. Basically, when bacteria are attacked by viruses, they actually store the DNA of the virus and they have their own sort of defense mechanism. So CRISPR is modeled after that defense mechanism, and by engineering it, we can actually use CRISPR to edit certain genes in our DNA.
Wait, so is CRISPR like a robot or is it like a chemical?
Is it like
Okay,
an
so basically
artificial?
it's I guess you could say it's kind of like a chemical. It's a polymerase.
What's
So
that? I told
okay,
you.
basically it's like biological kind
Wait,
of
so
thing.
you said it like mimics the immune response that our bacteria gives out against viruses?
Not our bacteria, just bacteria in general. Yeah. It's how bacteria grow immune to viruses.
Wait, going back to gene editing. So, I've learned like a while ago that there are basically like 4 nucleic bases, like in
Yeah.
strands of DNA. So I think I remember the names: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine.
Yeah.
And I know we learned that like if you arrange, I think all of those 4 bases are arranged in a bunch of orders that make up who you are. So is gene editing basically like switching them around, maybe adding one here and there and so on?
I mean, in a simple way, that is what it is. So basically, A is always paired with T and C is
Mhm.
always paired with G.
Yeah.
And essentially, you can have genes of like different length. So maybe one gene is like 8 base pairs long, and one gene can be 10 base pairs long. So
What's the
essentially, that's the challenge because when you're doing genome sequencing, you just have like this really long line of base pairs, and you have to figure out which ones are actually genes.
Wait, what's a base pair?
Oh, so essentially, like the ACTG stuff.
What's
Those are so essentially they're compounds like in your DNA.
Is that made of like the periodic table of elements?
Not exactly.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not really elements from what
Yeah.
I know. They're just like
Yeah.
proteins or compounds or something.
Yeah.
wait, Sandy, you know a lot about science, right? Well, you do. So if I eat a lot of protein food and if I like drink a lot of milk, wait, does it have protein? Does
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would I grow taller?
Okay, so the thing is that you always have to like have limits on different things. So even if milk has a lot of proteins, it also has like calories and stuff. So essentially, you have to drink the right amount of milk so you're getting the proteins and the benefits from the proteins, but you aren't getting the negative effects from like a lot of calories or a lot of fats in the milk. So it's all about like how much you actually drink. I know. So basically, technically, if you ate ice cream, so let's say that someone had a limit of like 1,200 calories. If they just ate ice cream, except they made sure that the ice cream stayed under the 1,200 calorie limit, let's say that we wouldn't actually get diabetes or like visceral fat or any of those other problems. Technically, they would survive. And they wouldn't actually get any extra fat because the calories would still be underneath their calorie intake level. So essentially, it's just about having what's right for your own body type.
Wait, is it possible to have like negative effects from like an oversupply of like protein or something?
Oh yeah, for sure. Basically,
Okay.
if you eat too much proteins, your body just can't deal with all of that. So
Do you,
yeah, it's definitely true.
do you die?
I'm not really sure if it's fatal, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that if someone actually ate that much protein, it could have fatal effects. I'm not exactly sure why would you do that though.
Also, one more thing. People keep telling me like the more active you are, the taller you get. Is this true? So like if I jump like a lot, do I get taller?
Okay, yeah, a lot of people tell me that as well, since I'm pretty short. Okay, so one, your genetics does have something to do with your height. So
Oh.
like, it's in your genetic makeup that you will grow to like 5'5", for example, you're probably not going to go much higher.
Wait, is
But
that like
yeah, like
the average
if
of your
you,
parents' height?
hmm?
Is that like the average of your parents' height?
To be honest, I actually don't know. I think for me it's like 5'3" or something. So like I'm pretty
How did you
close
figure that
anyway.
out?
Yeah, it's
So
my
I have
my
a
parents. Oh,
yeah.
sorry. No,
No,
go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not like my parents. I mean, my mom's not that tall, but my dad is like medium height. So
Yeah, same for me.
yeah, and so I've been like pretty short my whole life, and I think I do stretch a lot and I run and bike a fair bit, but still don't get tall, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, essentially like if it's in your genetic makeup to like grow to 5'5", being active definitely like helps you reach that limit. Because even if it is in your genetic makeup to be 5'5", it isn't like guaranteed that you will reach that height. So
Wait, how do
essentially
you
being more active actually helps you train your body to reach that sort of height.
how do you like figure that out? Like your max height or something?
I mean, there's calculators online.
Actually?
Yeah, there are. Besides, if you don't trust the calculators, there's actually been like home genetic tests that you can order. And I think that they take like a little saliva sample or something, and you can send it back to the lab to like get your genome sequence.
I had a question. So, for example, right? Say, like you said, if someone had like their height would be 5'5", right? For example, if that was their genetic makeup, would their lifestyle have any significant effect on whether they're taller or shorter? Is that like how it's gonna stay
Oh
for
yeah,
their
for
life?
sure. So basically, the lifestyle part is actually called something called the epigenome. So I'm sure you've all heard that like every human genome is basically like around 99% similar to like someone else's?
Nope.
Oh, okay,
I've
but
been told
yeah,
all
it's like
of us
it's
are really
something that they
different.
always talk about. Except the thing is that the reason why humans are like really unique is because of their lifestyle and other external factors. So for example, the reason why identical twins, they look the same when they're born, but like when they grow up, they don't exactly look the same is because of the epigenome. So your epigenome essentially decides which genes are expressed more and which genes are not expressed that much. So as I said, genes are instruction manuals for protein production. So if a gene is expressed more, that means that protein will be produced more. So, and if the gene isn't actually expressed as much, that protein won't be produced as much either. So essentially, depending on your lifestyle, your genes can get affected, which means your proteins get infected. So if you are living a certain type of lifestyle, that means you might not be able to reach the height.
Interesting.
Well,
Okay, so
Ayaan, that
yeah,
you eat healthier.
I am eating healthy. Trust me.
Correct.
Okay, so I have one more question. So, how far away do you think we are from designer babies?
Wait, what?
Honestly, I
Oh,
feel
like
like we aren't super far, but the major problem is that our technology is pretty faulty, and then there's all those ethical concerns. So the
Yeah.
problem is if you actually do make a mistake with the designer baby, well, that's going to continue for several generations.
yeah,
So I
okay.
think that we're probably like, I would say that we are probably there already. Is just like how far are you willing to take it? And so far, people haven't been able to like find a viable reason to actually start designer babies right now.
Wait, what's that?
Oh, so essentially, parents, okay, with designer babies, parents will have the choice to like design their baby. So basically, they can have this color of eyes, or this type of hair, or this type of face shape or height. So essentially, you're designing your baby.
That's possible?
Yeah.
What about
That's
skin color? I read some articles that say you can also choose skin color, but that's I don't know if that's actually true or
Oh
not.
yeah, it's for sure because your skin color is decided by like the amount of melanin in your skin. So if you actually were to reduce the amount of melanin, you would have lighter skin. And if you were to increase it, inversely, you would essentially have darker skin. So yeah, it's definitely possible.
yeah, that
Wait,
all depends on where you live, right? So if like you live in a hot
Yeah.
place, like maybe close to the equator, you're gonna have a lot more melanin, which means your skin is gonna be darker. And if you live like near the poles or like far away from the equator, it's gonna be the opposite.
You
Yeah,
can
wait,
also
obviously it
yeah.
depends on your background, but then the external factors definitely play a role.
wait, I have another question. So, wait, I had a lot of questions. Hold on, I forgot. Um, Ayaan, ask a question. I'm thinking.
Okay, so if do you think that being I
Oh
believe
wait,
being
I remembered. Um,
okay.
so I saw this post on Instagram. It talked about like how your skin, like the color depends on like vitamin D or something. Is that true? Like Bill Nye said it, so it should be true. But like you seem smart, so you should know.
No, it's definitely true. There's like a bunch of different things that contribute to your skin color. So that's definitely one of them.
Wait, I have another question. So both my parents are lighter than me. Why am I so dark?
Okay, so that's the question I thought I was never going to get. So essentially, you might have the same skin color as like a grandparent or a great grandparent. Because the way that genetics works is that essentially you have dominant genes and you have recessive genes. So dominant genes tend to be expressed more prominently than recessive genes. So things like curly hair, brown eyes, even like right-handedness, like those are all dominant genes. And the other things like blonde hair, straight hair, blue eyes, and left-handedness, those would be recessive genes. So essentially, let's say your parents had like your dad had maybe like one
Yeah.
dominant gene and one recessive gene, and your mom also had one dominant gene and one recessive gene, you would probably end up with the dominant gene. But that doesn't mean that the recessive gene isn't there. So technically speaking, that means that even if like your parents are lighter skinned, because of the genetic makeup of like your grandparents or your great grandparents, it can actually get passed down to you.
They're lighter than me too.
That's why we
Wait,
should play outside a lot and just you're in the sun
Yeah,
a bunch.
that
And
could be it
you
too.
don't put sunscreen on.
I don't do that. But is it possible that when I grow up, like my straight hair gets curly and stuff, and like my skin color changes? Because I
Not
realized
really.
that
I don't
I
think there's a drastic change.
Get a
what?
perm.
Yeah, get a perm if
Yeah,
you want,
get a
if you want
perm if
curly
you
hair.
want.
You were the person that introduced me to that idea.
I just knew it existed. I mean, you
You
go
told
for it
me
if
that
you
you were
want.
gonna
Yo,
get,
what's
you told me that you were gonna curl your hair and get
I didn't say
yo,
that. Okay.
having curly hair is annoying. Trust me, I know. It really is. It's hard to comb. It just goes back to the exact same spot it was when you
Well, that's the thing,
woke up.
right? Straight hair people want curly hair, and then curly hair people want straight hair. At least that's like the case for most people.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like, light skinned people want to get tanned, and like dark skinned people.
I think we're moving on to something else here. But
Yes. Okay.
Well, Ayaan, why don't you ask the question?
Okay, so what would you say is one of the ethical issues of having designer babies?
Oh wait, one more. I got another question before you answer this. So, so say you're doing gene editing. Does that mean you take pills, or is it like a robot goes inside of you, or like you cut the person in half and then like there's like small robot stuff that does stuff?
Okay, so basically there's a lot of different ways you can approach gene editing. And yeah, they do have this thing called like nanorobots, which essentially can go in your bloodstream and do certain things.
Wait,
But when
does
it
it?
comes to gene editing, it's mostly okay, so depending on like what you're actually doing. So like CRISPR is actually a compound, so basically that can be put into your bloodstream safely. And then there's also things like gene therapy, like I mentioned, where they have viruses that actually go into your cells to deliver different drugs. Oh, by the way, I mean beneficial drugs, not
Mhm,
like the bad ones.
sure,
Don't do drugs, kids.
that's totally what you meant.
Okay, so a question I had was, what are the ethical issues that come with designer babies?
Yeah, so obviously
Edgar.
one thing about the problem with like designer babies is the fact that like there's a lot of negative effects. So people think that since these sort of effects, even if they're not negative, they're still going to last for several generations. So people have been questioning the fact that like our parents, the ones who should be making the decision about like what future generations should look like the next 5 generations, the next 10 generations, should those two people actually be the ones to decide? So there's like that thing as well. But then there's also who has access to this kind of technology. It will most likely be like the upper class people and maybe like higher middle class people, which means that those people will just become better and better, whereas the poorer people will just like remain where they are. So essentially you're increasing the gaps between different social classes. So that's like another main ethical problem that people have been addressing.
So it's
Wait,
like it's like plastic surgery, but just much more
Yeah.
advanced.
Yeah,
wait.
because like here you can even I think you can actually affect intelligence as well. Like basically through gene editing you can make someone like stronger, taller, just like better looking in general. So essentially because of that, that gives them like a significant advantage, which plastic surgery right now it gives to like only some extent.
Wait, how do we know like you're not like your intelligence wasn't like edited?
Because
Like,
right now they're not doing that.
because there's a gap between like every grade 9 and you.
Not really. I think it's just curiosity.
Like if you want to know, you're gonna learn it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're free to read.
Yeah.
Wait, I have another question. Um, oh, what's the difference between like plastic surgery and gene editing?
I mean, there's a pretty significant difference. Because the thing about gene editing is that you're essentially editing someone's genetic material, which is like the instructions for their protein production. And then with plastic surgery, it's like very surface level.
Yeah, it's like
Like-
purely cosmetic.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're maybe altering someone's bones here and there,
Mhm.
or like cutting skin. But that's about it.
Wait, could you like reverse like once you've done genetic editing, could you like reverse it?
Like it depends on what exactly you've done, but generally it's like the effects are pretty much irreversible.
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking a step like that, like if you even want yourself to get genetically edited, you're gonna have to think a lot about it because it's probably it's like you said, it's just something you can't reverse.
Wait, I just got an idea. So, you know how wait, is gene editing like really specific? Like, can you edit just like one cell?
Not okay. Basically, the way that it works is that in each cell you have like all your genetic information. So
Mm-hmm.
like you can go into different cells and edit that genetic information.
Wait, so say a person has like a tattoo here. So could you like edit a tattoo, but your cells are a different color?
The tattoo's on the outside, not
Yeah.
on the inside. It
Yeah.
says that's just on your skin. It doesn't like go inside your
Like
cells.
besides, your tattoos are like made of ink.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can't you like ink your like cells from gene editing? Like edit your genes to look like be a different color?
I'm
I mean,
confused
it's not
now.
really been done yet. I think theoretically it's possible, but
Exactly.
if you were to actually reach that sort of level of detail, besides, usually you anyways get dead skin cells as you like grow older. So like whatever your tattoo thing was is probably going to get like marred.
Wait, one more thing. So you like well you just said like you could like edit specific cells. So say someone has cancer. So could you like go in and like edit the because I've been told that like cancer happens when like some cells differ from like the other cells and they start like producing more cells. Is that
Yeah,
right?
essentially you have like a cell cycle. So the thing
Mhm.
about cancer cells is that in your cell cycle, there's like a point where the cell is basically told, I guess you could say, to kill itself, so that it won't
Oh,
be a harm to the body. Except that with cancer cells, they do not listen to that warning, and then they keep reproducing.
just like Ayaan.
What?
Tumor cells infect other cells, right? And they just keep on like
Yeah,
reproducing.
pretty much. Plus, they like in the further stages, they're able to like actually call to the bloodstream and like create new paths.
Mm.
So essentially, like once the bloodstream actually makes contact with the tumor, I mean, you're pretty much screwed because then the tumor can travel through the bloodstream to other parts of the body.
Wait,
So that's why
tumor
it's
is
like
like
so important to address it early.
wait, tumor is like a ball thing somewhere, right? Like attached.
They're just weird looking cells.
Yeah, there.
They just
It's
look different.
basically like an area with those type of cells that have been infected.
Wait, so with gene editing, could you like unedit those bad cells into good cells and then like make them explode or something? Or like kill themselves?
I mean, technically you could, but one of the problems is that one, how do you find the cells? Because the problem with cancer cells is that they're really, really good at hiding. That's actually why a lot of anti-cancer drugs and like all those kind of things just don't work because we can't locate the cancer cells. So that's one thing. Actually, that's a problem with HIV as well because like every time you try to attack HIV cells, like they just go dormant, and then
Wait,
as soon as you stop attacking, they just like wake up again.
wait, what's HIV cells?
Oh, so basically HIV is like another virus. Have you heard of AIDS?
I've heard of it, yeah, but like what does it do? Because I know cancer, like it just like spreads and like, you
Yeah,
got
basically HIV is like kind of it's cruel. Okay, it's like this is like the guerrilla warfare of all viruses. Basically, it weakens your immune system. So it doesn't really do the damage directly. It's just that like by weakening the immune system, you can get your body's more susceptible to other types of viruses.
wait, does
So
that mean if you have like HIV you die, essentially?
I mean, they have treatments, but like
Wait, then why like how is Magic Johnson alive? The basketball player. He
I don't
has
know who Magic Johnson is, first of all. And secondly, like I said, they do have different treatments to like prolong your life with HIV, but the problem is it's kind of like you have to just keep staying with those different treatments, and if you stop the treatments, you're extremely vulnerable.
But
Wait.
I think what she said
It's
is
a sad
HIV
life.
itself doesn't kill you, but like if you do get it, then it just weakens you, and a virus like the coronavirus could come in and
Yeah.
take over
So
your
like
body.
those sort of people would probably be more susceptible.
Yeah.
People with immunodeficiency or disorders.
Wait, I've read somewhere that like they use like lasers or like somehow like the cancer cells glow. So can't you like find the cells from glowing and then like use gene editing on that?
Okay, so one, cancer cells, like they reproduce at like a very fast rate.
Like
So the
how
problem
fast
with
are you
genome,
talking about?
so the problem with like genome editing is that you would have to go into like individual cells and actually cause them to die. And the problem with that is that you have to go through every single cell. So it's basically like a race between the gene editing tools and the cancer cells. And right now we're just not at that level that we can actually reproduce our stuff that fast. But they are looking into like using different viruses than actually editing the viruses, and because they can actually reproduce by themselves, and then using those. But then obviously there's like different safety risks associated with that as well. So it's kind of like shaky over there. But yeah, the laser thing is definitely something they've been looking into. Essentially, like you shine a laser on the cancer cell, then it heats up and then it dies. So yeah, there's like multiple different ways. Also, it turns out that like cancer cells often like lack this certain protein that helps them die in the first place. So people have been looking into how do you make sure that cancer cells can explode, except that within that cancer cell, through genome editing, you can add different drugs that will be absorbed into other cells around it and cause them to die. So more like a domino effect.
Wait, so if you have a lot of protein, your cancer cells will explode easierly? Is that
Wait, what?
possible? Does she just
Wait, what?
I'm
No, I
confused.
basically, okay, and what I mean is that through genome editing, like you can't go into every cancer cell and essentially edit it to kill itself, but you can look into the reasons why the cancer cell isn't dying, and essentially through genome editing, you can actually add certain compounds into a certain cancer cell, and then once that cancer cell explodes, like those compounds that were within it, they will actually go and they will be absorbed into the membranes of other cells, and those compounds will cause them to die. So it's like a
Okay.
domino effect that way, because like
Wait.
when each one explodes, it's going to spread the compounds to like another cell. So that's something they've been looking into.
Okay, so I had a question. I want to ask a
Shut
couple
up,
of
Ayaan,
questions.
stop. Okay, more questions.
So let him ask a question.
No, hold on.
Allow him.
Wait, so this isn't necessarily in like gene editing, but like you know how like so say you have a bad kidney or something, you could like replace that kidney with another person's kidney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so say you have cancer in your like large intestine, can you like cut that and like add some like dead dude's intestine back?
You can grow organs. You can with some.
Yeah, like
looking
the
Grow
for-
an
stem.
intestine?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
idea of
Yeah.
stem cells is to grow organs.
Wait, then why don't you just cut that intestine and then like grow like speed up the process of growing another one?
I mean,
Even if you
right
just
now they're in the process of like they're still in the process of actually growing organs. It's not like a full commercial thing yet. It's still like pretty much in the lab. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty useful technology and it has like a lot of potential that way.
Wait, so Chadwick Boseman died because like of
Of colon cancer.
cancer
yeah.
in his intestine. So like why can't you just like cut it off and then like at least put like some plastic thing or something until like the new ones
Wait,
grow back?
it's because it's part of your digestive system, right? So you can't really do like
Yeah,
eat or
it's like
put anything.
pretty
you- onto
important.
it.
Yeah, it's
As-
a pretty vital.
Yeah,
organ.
and an artificial organ would take like months or maybe even years to even
Plus the
create.
thing is that there's like a lot of issues with artificial organs as well. So one, you would have to actually find like those stem cells in the first place. And the problem is you have to like either you use adult stem cells and you actually turn them into induced pluripotent stem cells. And then once you have those induced pluripotent stem cells, you have to replicate those. Then you have to actually grow the organ, and then you have to conduct surgery to put the organ in place. So by the time that entire process is done, the person is already like in their third or fourth stage of cancer.
Right. So I had a question. I want to ask a couple of questions back. So this might seem a little bit unrelated, but so
Oh.
what are some illnesses and diseases that you can like edit out with gene editing?
What does
Well, that's like okay. So one is obviously HIV, Essentially, they're looking into how HIV, like the life cycle of HIV viruses, and how you can actually use CRISPR-Cas proteins to actually edit those sort of things out. And then there's also genetic disorders. Like one that they've been looking into is like sickle cell anemia, where it's like your
Danny, I
cells
think
are
you dumber
sickle
this
shaped.
down. None of us understand when you talk about sickle cells.
No, so, we learned about sickle cell in like grade 8. The just your cells kind of look weird, and then
Yeah, your red blood cells are shaped in like a crescent moon shape.
yeah.
We
And the
learned
problem
about
is that
osmosis.
makes it really easy for them to like snag on different blood vessels. So yeah, they're like basically blockages become way easier.
We learned about osmosis in grade 8. We did nothing about no sickle cells. Ayaan, what's your
It's
other
not really part of the curriculum. I feel like it's just a fact.
Yeah.
So what were you saying, Udula?
What's your other question?
I don't really have any other questions.
You said you had a lot.
I did, but I forgot.
All right.
Wait. No. Wait. Danny, can you just like recap everything about gene editing?
Actually, wait, I have a question. Actually, I thought of it.
Well, thank you, Ayaan, for interrupting my question.
So is cloning a part of gene editing?
Oh yes, this is a good question.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, gene editing definitely plays a part in cloning.
But like, how would you clone a person with gene editing? You just
But
edit.
right now, we haven't even been looking into cloning people because, first of all, they can't think of a good reason why we would do that. Essentially, like how you look and like your face plays such a big part in identification. Like right now, you see the rise of Face ID. Now, if there's someone who had like the exact same like features as you, it would be a huge problem with like identification. So one, they just don't really have any reason to actually clone humans. But they have been cloning animals. So essentially what they do for that is that like if you have a dead animal or something that you want to clone, you would take a somatic cell, for example, such as like a skin cell, and you would use that cell, and essentially taking the genetic information from that cell, you would actually put it into this embryo or like an egg cell, which would have already had its DNA removed. And by putting the egg cell into, they would first replicate the egg cell with the DNA of like that dead animal, and then that would be put into like a surrogate mother, and yeah, that's how you get a cloned animal.
Wait, yeah, you guys know about Dolly the sheep, right?
The
sheep
problem with Dolly was that it took like 277 times to actually get it right.
Yeah, and it was like
so there's like
it was a really long time ago.
Error rate. And like even that was like in 1960s or something.
Yeah, it was a couple decades ago.
Yeah, except that even now, like in 2020, the success rate is like 10 to 20%. So it's highly ineffective.
Wait, what's Dolly?
First
it's
animal
the name
to,
of the sheep.
Yeah, first
it's
animal
the name
to
of
get
like
cloned.
the first successfully cloned sheep.
So there's a very high mortality rate with these cloned animals.
Yeah, I think Dolly passed
mortality,
away.
just like that they fail.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a pretty like high mortality rate. Like you get miscarriages, abnormalities, all those sort of issues.
And Dolly passed away within like the first maybe.
I don't think that was really because of the gene editing though. Like she got lung cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, because after that, they were looking into like if that was because of the side effects. Except that they found like they actually gene edited other animals, and they outlived Dolly. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so when you clone someone, like an animal, like so say you take the dead cell, like a dead animal cell, and like do it. So is it gonna like when it's like born-ish? Is it gonna be dead or is it gonna actually be alive?
Alive.
Wait, what's gonna be dead or alive?
So you took the cell of the dead animal, right? So it's also gonna like the cloned one is gonna be alive, right? Alive, right?
Yeah, I mean you're taking the genetic information and putting it into like an egg cell.
Wait, so say you clone a person. So say you clone an Ayaan. So is the cloned Ayaan gonna remember me and like this podcast and stuff, or is he
no.
You can't clone memory, can you?
I like right now, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he
Maybe
just gonna
sometime in the future.
is he gonna be like some just like a vessel that looks like Ayaan with like that can't speak?
Yeah, a mindless drone. That's what I would call him.
Okay, essentially, that's why they always say that like human cloning in real life isn't like what they show in sci-fi movies.
Mhm.
Because you're like the cloned Ayaan, for example, it wouldn't like have the same memories, the same personality, and like later on, depending on external factors, because of the epigenome, it might not even like look exactly the same later on. So yeah,
Wasn't there a cloning movie by Keanu Reeves?
Oh
Was it
yeah, no,
Replica.
yeah, replica. I recently watched.
Yeah.
I watched that one a while ago. Yeah,
So it's
Wait.
nothing like that, essentially.
So
I don't
say
think so.
wait, so if you clone like an Ayaan, is the Ayaan gonna be like a baby Ayaan, or is he gonna be like this aged Ayaan?
like since you're putting egg cells and then putting those into surrogate mother, the cloned Ayaan will start off as a baby.
This is such a weird example. Why don't you use an animal? Why
What are these
Ayaan?
hypothetical questions?
So for example, if it happened right now, Ayaan would see himself as a baby.
Okay, this is getting to be really weird.
Wait, no, this is interesting. So wait, so when you edit, so like the cloned Ayaan.
It sounds kind of weird when you say it.
So wait, the cloned Ayaan. So is he just gonna like look like Ayaan? Like, is he gonna have like no brain power or something, or could you like actually teach?
What?
It's like a new baby, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a baby.
Yeah,
It's
a new
a
baby
blank
who has
slate.
like all the same features as Ayaan, but like the
Wait.
memories and like all that kind of stuff just
Wait,
doesn't
could you
get
like
carried along.
teach it to do stuff?
Yeah, like it's
like
it's
how
a
you
normal
teach any
baby.
baby.
First of all, why is it it?
It just
Ayaan
looks
is
like
so
me, that's
witness,
it.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, like I'll have the same mental capacity as any baby.
So if you give a cookie and you say like, it's gonna.
But why?
Well, like any baby, it doesn't know anything unless
Yeah.
like you. I
Wait,
don't even know how to
wait.
explain this. You can't really explain.
I don't
it
even know why you want to know.
explain.
Human cloning isn't even legal, so I don't know
Yeah.
why you're asking all these
If I
questions.
clone my dog, I have to reteach it everything.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not your
Because,
it's
okay,
not your
look,
dog, but
like,
it is your
when
dog.
you're teaching
Yeah.
someone, like when you're teaching a living organism something, essentially their brain's neurons are making different neuronal connections and essentially have different pathways that are created. Now, when you're born as a baby, you don't have any of those pathways. Those pathways are created based on different experiences and the people you meet. So when you're actually born as a baby, you're basically like a blank slate.
Wait, so say you took the original baby Ayaan and like the cloned Ayaan. So say you give like the original Ayaan to like some jail people, and you take the cloned Ayaan and you give it to some good, like not that jail people are bad, but like some bad people. Then you give the the cloned Ayaan to good people. So does that mean like the cloned Ayaan is gonna turn out good and the bad Ayaan is gonna turn out bad because the neurons or something is gonna like have bad experiences?
Well, she said it's like the lifestyle, right? It's the
Pretty
lifestyle
much.
that you live.
Yeah, in fact, like the one who lives in jail might even look different.
Whoa.
You know, it might have some muscle.
Wait, but that's the original Ayaan.
lifting weights.
Like the jail
I
Ayaan.
didn't mean it that way. I mean like they might age faster.
Yeah, or it depends like how long you keep them. Maybe keep them in for 20 years. They grow a beard. Maybe like one
Yeah,
doesn't
like,
because they know how they
that's
shave. And in
Yeah.
prison, maybe
Yeah,
you don't
that's
shave.
the external stuff. I mean like
Yeah.
aging faster is more like your internal processes.
Oh, okay. Wait, is
People
that?
age faster in jail.
Well, it really depends on your lifestyle.
Or it just looks like they age faster, but they really don't.
Okay.
Well, any more questions?
I think I'm good.
Ayaan, you had some really.
Yeah, I think we've heard enough about cloning
Yeah.
Ayaan
Learned a lot today.
one
Oh, it's
day.
4:15. I better go.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being on our show.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed teaching us.
Oh wait, one more question.
Oh my god.
So in Transformers, I watched that like this dude named Starscream, he cloned himself. So like, every time one of the clones get injured or like killed, like Starscream feels it.
That's not how it works.
So say he gets punched, like the original Starscream gets punched. So say I punch the cloned Ayaan. So does that mean the real Ayaan gets like hurt too?
No, that's not how it works at
Yeah,
all.
movies aren't real life.
Yeah.
Not at
One
all.
different
organism
body.
is different than another organism.
Exactly, Ayaan. Stop asking these stupid questions. No one cares about your performance.
Okay, now I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Yeah, thanks
Bye.
for being on our show. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, that was a weird
That was
discussion.
something. Learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's.
I have a question. So if you guys were rich enough, if you guys were in the upper class, would you consider getting a designer baby?
No.
Nah,
that's weird.
no, no.
Yeah, no, I agree. The risks are just too high, and I mean,
Like Ayaan would probably use gene editing on himself before like he does it.
no, I think no. Okay, I don't really have a plan for what I want to do in the future. I mean, obviously something probably science related, but yeah, I mean the thing is, it's changed over time.
Yeah.
During the very beginning, I wanted to be a scientist. I think most
Every
kids,
kid wanted to be a scientist.
yeah, a scientist, right? But it's so generic, and it's a pretty broad term like scientist. But over time, I think there's a show that I watched as a kid that really influenced what I wanted to become when I was older. I watched Dinosaur Train.
Bro, I wanted to be a
Oh
bat.
my!
I wanted
love
to be one of those
Dinosaur
Beyblade
Train.
people.
Yo, I used like Dinosaur Train. You guys know Arthur?
Yeah.
Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur. A bunch of other stuff. Some of you
What
guys,
about you?
some people watching this might not know this, but Ben 10,
Ben
probably
10.
my favorite show of all time.
Ben 10.
It's a story about this kid who has a watch that turns him into different monsters. It's really cool. Yeah.
Every
Everyone
Asian
wanted to be
child
Ben
knows what
10
Ben
for a
10
little
is.
while.
I think also like your future career may get influenced by your parents, just their
Yeah,
expectations
yeah.
of you. Because I know definitely my parents want me to become a doctor,
Mhm.
and that's what I did think I wanted to become. But when I grew up, like now I'm 15 years old. When I was like maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe even close to 10 years old, I still thought I wanted to become a doctor. That's what my parents expected of me. And now I'm like, I'm not so sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
sort of do know what I want to do,
What
but
do you
it's
want
like,
to do?
well, so what I wanted, it's pretty influenced on what I watch now. I watch a lot of cop shows,
You wanna be
and
a
like
cop?
not necessarily a cop.
CSI?
Like it, yeah, that's
Yeah.
CSI. It's not. So what the thing is, like being a cop isn't really. I don't think it's meant for me. Like I'm not a person that's violent, so I wouldn't want to pick up a gun and kind of that kind of life isn't something I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Like one with risks and stuff.
Yeah,
I
that makes
probably I think I'm pretty decent at science. I like learning about different scientific discoveries and stuff.
Mhm.
And I wanted to find a way to incorporate that with one of my something I live by, which is like I believe in helping people, which is something that I want from my job. So originally I wanted to become a doctor so I could help people, but then like I realized that's not really what I wanted to do. So I started looking to other jobs and other interests I have, and I came across like one of these shows I watch. You guys know The Flash? Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I don't know the Flash.
Well, you gotta watch more shows.
Yeah.
They're really interesting. The Flash is really interesting. I mean, as much as it's like fake, it teaches you a lot about like the world and science and stuff.
Wait, so you're gonna be a really fast 4'7" cop with no gun?
4'7".
I'm not 4'7", and no, the Flash is obviously fake. Like if someone were to get
Nonfiction.
struck by lightning and dark matter at the same time, nothing
Well-
really happened. I'm pretty sure. No one knows what dark matter does, but
Yeah, so.
I am like really confused because originally I wanted to be one of those Beyblade people.
What?
What do you mean, like in the commercial?
You know Beyblade?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I wanted to be like Jenga, like go around and like worse people.
What? No, you're joking. You're joking.
I actually wanted to be that. That was in like grade 1, 2, when Beyblade was popular. So then I wanted to be like Ben 10 and like somehow get a watch.
What? Oh my god.
And then I wanted to be like this dude. So I started watching Transformers in like grade 3. I wanted to be this dude in a
Don't-
robot thing.
Don't tell me you want to be a robot. Oh my god.
This guy wants to be a transformer.
He wants to turn into a car. At the will of his.
And
Oh
then
my
I
god.
wanted to be, like in grade 5. I wanted to be Naruto.
Grade 5? Well, you don't have a sense of the world at that point.
And then I wanted to be a doctor.
No.
Like
Well,
Okay.
what a change.
The first
wanna be
reasonable.
and as of now, I think the best subject I'm good at is probably math or science. So probably like an engineer. But I also want to be a basketball player.
Engineer transformer. So,
There you go.
engineer
I also
transformer.
want to be a basketball player, and like that's not happening. And now I also want to be a physicist, but there's not really like any jobs for physicists.
Physics just involved. Physics is just math, but with a little bit of science. That's all it is. And I suck at math, so physics is not for me.
I don't know. I don't have anything that's interesting. Like I'm good at math and science, but they're not really interesting.
Actually, I went through a phase where I used to like
What
after I
phase
watched.
have you not gone through?
Wait, what?
Okay, you said what phase have I not gone through? Uh, okay. Anyway, so after I watched Dinosaur Train, I was obsessed with dinosaurs. I wanted to be a
Oh, okay.
paleontologist, right? So
Wait,
all I
want
did.
to do that too.
Yeah, no, I had a friend in grade 4 that wanted to be a paleontologist too. He
I
was
wanted
really
to
into
be an
dinosaurs.
archaeologist.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of the same thing except archaeologist
Yeah.
artifacts.
Yeah.
But what I used to do was I had my dad's old toothbrush. I would go to the sandbox.
Oh my god.
I just like find these rocks, right, and I'll just brush them off and pretend I was a paleontologist.
Oh, that's cool though. That's fun
Yeah, it
thing to
was
do when you're a
cool,
kid.
yeah. But then eventually I stopped liking dinosaurs and I started going into artifacts and eventually minerals. And I used to like collect like a ton of rocks.
Oh, yo, I did the same thing.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I don't have any, but I used to
Actually, I
collect
have
like
some. Wait,
dozens
I'll
of
get it.
rocks. No way. No, you actually have a rock
I have a
collection.
big black suspicious sack full of rocks. Yo,
What
do you
do you
know what you're gonna be? Because I'm really confused.
No, I think I want to be a crime scene investigator because it's just it puts two parts of my personality together, science and
I
like
have
just helping
nothing
people.
interesting that I want to do as of now.
This is
Well,
my rock
yo, for high school will make you figure out what you want to do pretty
Everything's
easily.
like, yeah, for me. Like,
I mean, you could get influenced by other people, your teachers, what you learn. Maybe something you learn just becomes interesting to you all of a sudden, and you want to do
need
that.
to know everything by grade 11, right?
What do you mean know everything?
Not necessarily.
Like what you want to be? Because
No, you can figure it out. It's, even like after you go to college, you can.
Yeah. Because I got the rock. So look, I have a shark tooth.
Ooh.
It's a
Is that a real
Korak shark tooth. Yeah, it's real, but I didn't find it. I got like when you were in like elementary school, you used to do like scholastic book fairs and stuff.
it doesn't count. That's not real. That's plastic.
No, this is real. I swear, it's real.
Oh,
So where'd you find this?
So it's at the book fair. There's
okay.
came
The
like
book
this
that
in
it's
this
real.
box.
Oh, cool.
And so that's and then I also have this smaller tooth, and then I have
Shark teeth are like usually really expensive, right?
yeah, but these are like
They're fake shark teeth. I know.
no, they're not fake. No, these are all real. But it depends on what type of shark, right? Like certain
it's
like yeah, if you go to certain places, like you can find like hundreds of shark teeth, but like from like the
Yeah.
lemon shark, for example, right? But those are like they're pretty cheap. You can get them for free. Well, not free, but yeah. And
Oh
then
yeah, you probably stole it.
I didn't see it. I feel like such a nerd right now, but I also have these fossil fish chips. So
Did
like
you
they're just
find
like
it, or did you like?
Wait, what kind of fish is this? Do you know?
I don't know, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. I didn't find any of these things.
Exactly.
I
I
never
actually
found
went-
anything interesting. Like I just found like
Exactly.
normal rocks.
I went to the beach and actually found stuff.
What?
Really?
What'd you find?
I
Yeah,
haven't.
found one fossil. It's in my backyard.
Serious? Oh, cool.
Oh, nice. I found a mouse skeleton once.
There's a lot of
A
rocks.
mouse skeleton? What?
Yeah, I don't know where it's from. I just found it and then I brought it home and then my mom yelled at me because it was disgusting, so I had to throw it back out. And then I actually have just one more thing. So this is like petrified wood. So it kind of looks like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't really. Then yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Everything you bought, you didn't actually like find though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I didn't expect to find anything when I was playing in the sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but maybe one day in the future, I'll actually find something that's
Wait, so,
actually valuable.
so you're still trying to be like an archaeologist or something?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you know, archaeologist is a very, very labor demanding job. It's not,
Yeah.
so I want something that more so involves my brain and like thinking, and not something that that depends on like, you know, working outside in the blistering heat. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I definitely like that field, like of that of history and
Mhm.
um, artifacts and paleontology. Yeah,
Why don't you be like a history teacher then?
I don't think I like teaching kids. Like honestly, seeing what my teachers have to go through is
Yeah, teaching
it's
is a
pretty
very
difficult.
difficult job. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
It's a very very demanding job because you know like keeping up with kids like especially young kids is very very hard, so I definitely don't want a career that revolves around that.
So
Mhm.
you just don't like kids?
Well, no, I like kids, but I don't
Yeah, sure.
like teaching kids, you know.
Wait, so what do you want to be when you grow up?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know, but I know what things I like doing, but like I like photography too, but I'm not sure if that's like my profession. I
But
just
like you
have
don't
these
get
hobbies.
paid well for photography though, unless you're like a
Well,
really good picture taker.
Well, you can also like I'm sure people will pay you for photography and cinematography.
Yeah.
Like there are people who create videos and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so also something in that realm maybe. That's also a very interesting
At least you
career
have
path.
something that you know you like to do. I'm
W-
clueless.
Well, you like basketball. That's you know
Am
it's
I gonna be a
possible.
basketball player, yeah? No.
It's possible. You know,
If you do like practice a
yeah.
lot and just try, you know,
Sure, sure.
and you do
What
get
about
really good, you get into college. No, not college. You do really well in high school while playing basketball. You get on the team. You perform really well in
I'm not
tournaments.
even
You
gonna get a chance? Like there's not even gonna be a basketball team this year.
Well, look, you're also really good at art, right? So like maybe a career that revolves around art
You
that
don't
could
get
also work.
paid well for art, Ion.
doesn't
No.
really matter if you get paid well. See, like that's always been my parents' philosophy. Like, just get a job that pays you well. I just want to get a job
Exactly.
that I like. To be
Yes.
honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, we have. I'm just gonna talk about one more thing. Is that we laugh a lot on this podcast. We make a lot of jokes. We have fun, but something that happened recently touched all of us deeply, as we've been a fan of this actor. I'm sure many of you know who we're talking about. Chadwick Boseman. We talked a little about him previously. Chadwick Boseman, the actor of Black Panther, the main actor of Black Panther. He portrayed Jackie Robinson in the movie 42. He played a part in 21 Bridges. He passed away recently from colon cancer, and he was one of my favorite actors. I loved him in Black Panther.
Aim.
I loved him in 42
Great
as
work.
well.
Yeah.
I
That's
saw the
what
trailer of 21 Bridges, and it was clear to me how like incredible of an actor he was. And he had colon cancer since 2016.
2016. Yeah.
Yeah, so he filmed a lot of movies while having it. So I think that shows how just like great of an actor and how incredible of a person he is to put out that kind of entertainment for people while being under like that much pressure. So I want to like just have like a moment of silence, like a good maybe 20 seconds or so, just where we sit in silence and just honor him.
And his like movies were actually about something. It wasn't like robots fighting each other for like power or something.
Yeah,
No,
I
yeah, they
think
had yeah, they're meaningful.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like sit in silence for 20 seconds and then yeah, we can end it.
I believe that's all.
One of you
Thank
want
you
to
for
end it?
watching.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
Yeah.
children. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
See
go
ya.
cook now.
Please subscribe, click the notification bell as well.
Yeah.
Leave a thumbs up.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.